Marner is the one guy in this core four that I cannot think of a single example in the playoffs of when he showed up when it mattered. He didn't. He hasn't shown up when it mattered. I'm not trying to hate on the guy. Like, I'm someone who's loved Mitch Marner for 8 years. I love his skill. I think he's incredibly skillful. I think his
You traded for him in fantasy right before the playoffs started.
Literally, yeah. I was ready to trade for him in fantasy, like no questions asked. You know, I love this. I love watching him play hockey. I love his personality. You know, I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great regular season player. He'll be a 100-point player. Wherever he goes, he'll have fun there. He'll excel there, whatever it is. I'm not even trying to be like I hate Marner. I don't hate Marner. But I can't give you a single example of when he showed up in the playoffs. I can't. And he's making $10.9 million.
Welcome to the Unfortunate Diehards podcast, episode number 64. Also known as J.C. Beaudin, Senators legend.
Not in my book.
But yes, welcome to the podcast, everyone. My name's Evan. I'm a Sens fan. I have nothing to do other than watch other teams have fun. Go Travis Green. Anyone else want to talk?
That's literally all of us now. I am Omar Beliefs fan, and I don't have anything else to do now apart from watching other fan bases have fun.
I'm Sufjan, I'm a Caps fan, and honestly, this is a good thing. Now we can all just vibe. It's a good time. This is the best.
We all knew we were going to vibe a week after.
We all knew this time was coming. It was just a little bit different timing.
As Matthew Tkachuk said, we all knew it was going to be Boston.
That's a hilarious statement, by the way. He didn't need to make that chirp. We just did it anyway. There was no reason to do that.
That
like,
makes
he's not
Matthew
playing
Tkachuk
Toronto for next season. Well, he's not playing Toronto next season, bro.
If they lose to Boston, I want that statement back. I want someone tweeting. We knew it was probably going to be Boston.
He didn't say that in a bad way about Boston though, so that doesn't really matter.
No, yeah, no. No, I want just like that someone to tweet that back at him, you know? Like if they lose to Boston, be like, oh yeah, well, we probably knew it. We knew it was gonna be Boston.
Whoever the team is that makes it and plays against Boston in the next round is
like if it's like Rangers, I need like Panarin to be like, yeah, we knew it was probably gonna be Boston.
I mean, he would do that too. That's kind of funny.
But welcome to the episode, guys. We're going to be talking about the first round of the NHL playoffs, as well as the previews for the second round of the NHL playoffs. We're going to be talking about MVPs from each series, and have some funsies.
It probably depends what you define as funsies.
Well, I had funsies because I had no one to cheer for.
Yeah,
and
but
I had fun.
You should have funsies now after your latest hire.
He doesn't seem as brokenhearted about it, but I think Evan's more of he's more of an optimistic Sens fan than most. So
I am a glass half full person, unlike you twats.
I have no play in this, bro. I'm just saying it as I see it. If they hire
Sophie literally hates 95% of the NHL and says everyone's bad defensively.
Okay, did you know that I realized recently actually that the Sens playoff list streak is now I think the same as the Leafs playoff list streak was in the Ferguson / Brian Burke era. Like that post lockout from 05-06 until 2013 is now the same as 2017 until 2024, unless I'm off by like one season. But we're getting to that level of Sens failure.
I am a current employee of Capital Sports Entertainment, which is the Senators, and I have not once even had an opportunity to work a playoff game, and I've worked since 2017.
Oh no!
Damn.
So wait, you weren't working those playoff games in 2017?
I forgot because I remember this because I started working there during their last playoffs. Like I got hired in April.
And I got hired in September.
And then I emailed for Evan. I should have emailed a little bit earlier, I guess, but because I remember that it was me and our friend Ben. We were working at a table. Like they set up a separate table in the concourse, like outside of the 200s, and we were sitting on the table while that while the double OT game was happening, and like the carnage that ensued after that was it wasn't Vancouver levels, but it was still not great.
Honestly, even like that game 7, even though we lost, was kind of sick. Like we were in game 7 double overtime against Pittsburgh. Like Dzingel tied it up late. It was exciting.
That was a great series.
It was. And if Ottawa beat them,
Oh my
I
God, not
think
that
they would have
again.
beat Nashville. Apparently, some
I hate this
people on a
man.
tour for like a concert that came in recently to Canadian Tire Center. The people were from Nashville, and they were like, "Oh, like yeah, we knew if Ottawa won, we were gonna wipe the floor with them in the finals." And I was like,
I
But
mean,
that's
I
the
"What?
don't
thing.
think you
You
can.
thought
Both
I
of you
mean,
will have that
Nashville was
opinion.
gonna win?
I think
Nashville, a good team, man. They took
no,
Pittsburgh to
I don't.
six.
I think in that.
Pittsburgh
I
killed
think
them."
that no, I think that season, if
They went to
Sens
six.
finals, they had as much of a chance as Nashville to win that cup. Like I'm not gonna. I wouldn't say
No,
Nashville
no,
had.
I'm not. But I think that the general presumption among Sens fans is that they automatically would have won that series.
You
No,
can't
but I
have
think
that.
Ottawa had a better chance to
Yeah.
beat Nashville than like Pittsburgh was a more difficult opponent.
Than Nashville, yes.
All right. I guess I'll give that to you.
It's just like when when the Sens made the finals, how they lost in five. Like Anaheim had three more difficult series than them before the finals,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah. The East wasn't that strong that year for
yeah.
sure.
Anyways, let's talk playoff first round matchups.
Let's talk about Toronto Boston. I called the Bell yesterday because I was like, I need internet for my new house. And I'm talking to them on the phone, and I was like, okay, so apart from internet, I know you guys have Fibe TV, and right now I pay like $40 a month for Sportsnet to just to watch hockey and stuff. Like, what do you guys have with Fibe TV? You have Sportsnet and TSN and stuff. Like, how much do you charge for that? And he's like, oh, you must be devastated. And I was like, huh? Is he talking about the fact that I pay $40 and he wants to give me a better offer? Is that why he's saying I'm devastated to like, and then he's like, you must be devastated. That game was a heartbreaker. And I was like, okay.
How do you know, bro?
I was like, yes, I know. I'm a big Leafs fan. He's like, I am too. And I was like, okay. I'm still not buying internet from you because you charge too much, Bell. If you watch this, Bell, you charge too much. Anyway, go ahead, Sophie. Go through the scores.
Watched as well. Great. All right. So the scores of each game were game one, 5-1 Boston. Game two, 3-2 Toronto. Game three, 4-2 Boston. Game four, 3-1 Boston. Game five, 2-1 Toronto. Game six. So game five was 2-1 Toronto in OT. Game six was 2-1 Toronto again. And game seven was 2-1 Boston. General theme in the last three games.
A 2-1 theme.
Just a whole lot of 2-1s.
Okay. So we're going to get into details of the series and details of each of at least of game 7 anyway, and details of who performed, who didn't perform, and all that. To begin with, though, this is officially, without a doubt, 150%, no questions asked, an official goodbye to the Toronto Maple Leafs of Kyle Dubas / Brendan Shanahan / whatever their philosophy was, that these four guys are gonna be your main guys. They're gonna get paid $900 million, and then the rest of the team is gonna be filled in gaps here and there, and we're gonna win cups. It's done. It's over. No more. This plan failed. One series win in 8 seasons. It did not work. So this is officially a goodbye to this team, because there's no way this team can stay together. Absolutely no way. Zero chance. And if they come together again next season, that's just potentially the biggest failure in this organization in the last like 50 years. That's it. We are done with this team. This is like, call it the who do I watch? Steve Dangle. He put up his LFR after game 7, and he titled it Eulogy. And I was like, that's the perfect title, because that's literally what this is. This Leafs team is dead. This core group of players together, dead. And that's it.
All
No
right.
questions asked.
A
And
little
there's
dramatic
literally
there.
Not even one reason or excuse or valid point a single person can make in any organization, no matter what you do, no matter what position you are in the sports world, not one person can make a single valid point to counter the fact that this team cannot stay together anymore. Not one. There's not one point. Oh, but no, there's no oh buts. There's not a single oh but anymore. Oh buts are gone. Oh buts happened after the first one. Oh buts happened after the second one. Oh buts even happened after the third one. You know what? Oh buts happened after the fourth one. Oh buts shouldn't have happened after that, but they happened for 4 more after that. And now there are no more oh buts. It's done. They don't have it. Whether they have it individually on other teams, time will tell. Do they have it together on this team? No.
Whoa!
Whoa!
Okay? They do
Family
not
friendly show.
So, firstly, can someone
That
tell me?
wasn't firstly?
Oh my gosh.
That was
I'm gonna have
second.
to lay down even more.
All right, man.
Okay,
You're firstly.
can someone tell me which player Mitch Marner tied in points in round 1 this series? It's another player on the Leafs, and Mitch Marner tied him in points. And I want your most outrageous guess. Give me your most outrageous guess. A player
My most
Sam
outrageous
Benoit.
guess is Ryan Reeves.
Your first guess is Ryan Reeves, and who did you say, Evan?
Benoit.
Worse than both of those. Give me another one.
Labushkin.
Lyubushkin. Lyubushkin and Mitch Marner were tied for 3 points in this series. Okay, Mitch Marner, who, when Auston Matthews got his contract extension, like 2019, when he signed his 5-year deal, and his agent comes out and he's like, oh my God, something about this contract, blah, blah, blah. And he's trying to make it seem like Marner deserves a lot of money. Like, bullshit. Mitch Marner's reputation in Toronto since that incident of his contract talks in 2019 has slowly been dwindling anyway, because every year since then, he's been a failure in the playoffs, but everyone's like, no, he'll pick it up. No, he'll pick it up. And this season, there's not one. We can talk about how Matthews hasn't dominated in the playoffs yet. We can talk about how Tavares hasn't been great in the playoffs yet. We can talk about how Morgan Riley hasn't been great in the playoffs. We can talk about anything of those. All of those players that I just mentioned, whether they are consistent in their good play in the playoffs or not, they've actually done some stuff in the playoffs still. They've gotten points when it mattered. They've gotten a big goal. They've gotten a couple of big goals. They've gotten Leafs back in games. They've gotten Leafs back in series. They've showed up at times. Mitch Marner has showed up when? When's the last time he showed up? Okay, he showed up in game 2 of Tampa versus Toronto last season in a 7-2 or 7-3 blowout win for Toronto, when if you remove his points and his goals, they probably still win that game easily. So he shows up when it doesn't matter. He also doesn't realize that in the playoffs, you don't just play from side to side. Oh, I'm on the left side, and I'm going to dipsy doodle to the right side, and I'm going to dipsy doodle to the left side. No, you got to drive play. You got to do something. You got to do something at the net. And when you have an open shot in front of you, you got to shoot the fucking puck. Shoot it. Don't pass it to Joel Edmondson 5 times in game 7. Why are you passing it to Joel Edmondson in game 7 that many times? I can guarantee you, no matter what position you're in on the ice, you're better off shooting that puck at the net than passing it to Joel Edmondson. I don't care where he is on the ice and where you are on the ice. Shoot the puck if Joel Edmondson is your only option. Okay?
Or Joel Edmondson catching a stray.
And
he was just there, bro.
And you know what? Joel Edmondson, I was fine with him this series. I have no issue. He blocked some good shots. He played well on the penalty kill. He even had a good game 7. I thought, well, if this guy keeps getting passes, he might actually score one. But, it's Mitch Marner has the puck. You shoot the puck. And the fact that he has 3 points, 1 goal, first of all, a goal in a game where already, like, everyone's like, oh, what a skillful goal by Mitch Marner in game 4. Yeah, it was third period. They were down 3-0. It was out of reach. You think that goal matters? Oh, not many players in the league can pull off that move and score. I don't give a okay. Like, you can't, like, Did it matter? No, they lost that game. That was the only goal of the game. Good job, Marner. You scored when it didn't matter. Literally had no impact on anything. You want to pat yourself on the back for that skillful move? Oh, he was on one knee and he backhanded it in the net and went cross. Who cares? It doesn't matter. He always does shit when it doesn't matter. And when it matters, like in a game 7, when he could have come out and done something, he can't drive a line. He needs to be able to drive a line. He can't drive a line. Nylander can drive a line. Marner cannot drive a line. And then on top of that, at the end of this season, in the other yesterday in locker cleanout, what does he say? Oh, we're treated as gods in this city.
I knew that was going to come up.
Which is true.
It is true. But it's a little weird to say.
I was like, who treats you as a god? You had 3 points. You tied Labushkin in the first round. Who treats you as a god in this city? Who treats you as a god? Okay? Mitch Marner has to go. It's done. He's the core that has to go. He's the only one that has consistently performed useless in the playoffs. He's done nothing. He's a regular season guy. All right? He'll put up his 95 to 99 points in a season. He might have hit 100 points at some point. Okay? He'll put up his points in the season. He's done. He can't do anything in the playoffs. In the playoffs, he's a softie.
My point resides in the land of Auston Matthews. And the point I need to get across is that this guy is compared to every single top player throughout the regular season, from not McDavid as much because no one really compares anyone to McDavid, from guys like McKinnon, Kucherov, Pasternak, Matthew Tkachuk, what? Draisaitl, etc., right? My point is he doesn't get enough flack for his playoff performance, considering the players that he's compared to outperform him by a mile in the playoffs. And not only that,
actually, if you think about it, Auston Matthews was one of the top few players that led in hits early in the playoffs. So if you want to look at it from other
he turned into a fourth. If he's compared to Tom Wilson, then you know what? This argument doesn't make any sense. But I think the day we compare Matthews to Tom Wilson, we've entered a very dark territory.
Or Tom Wilson goes crazy.
Yes, or Tom Wilson stopped. He is the best goal scorer in the league according to David Pasternak. So regardless, we compare Matthews to these players throughout the regular season, and then magically those comparisons go away. Now Matthews is just compared to the rest of his team. Matthews compared to the rest of his team in the playoffs doesn't look that bad because everyone performs badly, and so does he. My point is that there's players that are let down by their teams, and there's players that let their teams down. The difference is there's players on good teams. There's players on good teams that perform great, and the rest of their team let them down, and they miss. They don't make it to the next round, etc. If Matthews was performing as well as Draisaitl, McKinnon, Pasternak, Tkachuk in the playoffs, and the Leafs still lost, I wouldn't have any problem with him. My point is, Auston Matthews in the playoffs goes from 0.75 goals a game in the regular season to 0.36 in the last 4 years in the playoffs. If I did that over his whole playoff career, it'd be even less. It'd be like 0.25 or something like that. And if I'm going to compare him to even early career Crosby, Ovechkin, Kane, if you look at their first 50 playoff games, they're well over point a game, and their goals per game blows him out of the water. If you look at the first 50 playoff games for Draisaitl, McKinnon, Pasternak, Tkachuk, they all blow him out of the water. So why now, when it comes to the playoffs, does he not get the same amount of criticism someone like Marner does, who shouldn't be compared to the same level as Matthews because Matthews is a significantly better player? Why does he not get the same kind of flack when guys like Draisaitl, 0.6 goals per game in the regular season, 0.73 goals per game in the playoffs? McKinnon, 0.55 goals per game in the regular season, 0.62 in the playoffs. Pasternak, 0.59 in the regular season, 0.56 in the playoffs. Matthew Tkachuk, 0.42 to 0.44, and McDavid, 0.59 to 0.54. Every other player either improves or stays the same in the playoffs, while Matthews' performance drops off a cliff. But no one talks about Matthews being like a playoff disappointment, aside from people that like are generally just like against him in Toronto, which I understand. But the general discourse in Toronto surrounds just Mitch Marner, which I don't like. I get it from the Marner standpoint, but Matthews does not get enough flack that he should in the playoffs. This series, I will say, I'll give him a little bit of a break because apparently whatever illness he had was so bad that he can play 2 games. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that. Though I think it is a little convenient that every time that he's not playing well, something goes wrong, which I'll give it to him. But I just think that if you're going to compare Matthews to every other star player in the league, then don't change the standard when we get to the playoffs. Hold him to that same standard all the way throughout. Because for me, that's what differentiates him being in a top 5 conversation versus him not being in the top 5 conversation. If every guy in the top 5 ahead of him performs similarly in the regular season, but then in the playoffs they blow him out of the water. And you can't say that he doesn't get the same amount of help because realistically, Toronto's team is built on offense and he's the main pillar of that offense. Everything goes through him. He's the goal scorer and he does not score in the playoffs.
I mean, that's probably the smartest thing I've ever heard you say, ever.
Damn. It's kind of sad.
And to defend Omar's precious little Leafs and his little baby heart, if you want to look at it this way, it's very kind of left field. You probably have less of a chance of Matthews leaving now because Arizona doesn't exist.
That's true. He ain't going to Utah. Maybe he'll go somewhere close to Arizona.
Dallas.
I don't think they need him. Anaheim.
Okay. So, yes, valid points on Matthews. Now, here's what I'll say about why he doesn't get. I'm gonna just break it down thing by thing. He doesn't.
This is gonna be the whole friggin' podcast,
as it should be. Okay, he didn't. He doesn't get the same flack as Marner because, even though he underperforms in the playoffs, and he's been underperforming in the playoffs his entire career so far for eight straight playoffs. Yes, he's underperformed. The reason he doesn't get the same slack as Marner is because at times he's still shown up. I can't give you an example when Marner has ever done something to do.
No, I'm not. But I'm not even saying that he should get the same amount of flack as Marner because Marner deserves more. My point is that, like, yes, he shows up. He's shown up a few times.
Yeah, like he showed up. Like if we talk about last series, like he showed up game 4 when they were down 4-1. He scored 2 goals in the third period. He showed up game 6, scoring in the elimination game. Technically, he showed up this year in game 2 when he had 3 points, 2 primary assists, and that goal and that game-winning goal in Boston. Without which, like, if Leafs lose that game, it's a sweep. Because after that game, he gets injured or sick or whatever it is. And for 2 games, he was essentially useless because he couldn't even skate. That he had to get pulled from the game in game 4. So even in this series, despite him being injured and sick and whatnot, I can go back and tell you, okay, in game 2, he showed up and we needed that win. And in game 7, despite his situation, he comes up with a big assist on the Nylander goal. So he did something. Whether it's enough, sure, it's not enough.
No, okay, that's where the point lies. Because again, we're comparing Matthews to Marner. We should be comparing Matthews to every other top player in the NHL.
Yeah, but I'm not starting with that point. I'm gonna get to that point. I'm starting with the point is why you said why doesn't Matthews get slack like Marner? Marner doesn't show up. Nylander shows up. Okay,
Nylander isn't even in this conversation.
Yeah, Matthews should show up more, but he's shown up at times, and there's multiple examples of when he showed
Even
up.
Tavares has shown up.
Even Tavares has shown up. Literally, Tavares has shown up. Okay? Like, people talk about one of my friends yesterday messaged me and he's like, the reason the Leafs don't have a Stanley Cup is because of the Tavares contract. And I was like, you know what? Fair. That's a fair assessment of $11 million going to a guy you haven't won with yet. But Marner is getting 10.9. And I can name you, multiple times when Tavares showed up and Marner didn't. Right? Marner is the one guy in this core 4 that I cannot think of a single example in the playoffs of when he showed up when it mattered. He didn't. He hasn't shown up when it mattered. I'm not trying to hate on the guy. Like, I'm someone who's loved Mitch Marner for 8 years. I love his skill. I think he's incredibly skillful. I think his
chemistry traded for him in fantasy right before the playoffs started.
Literally, yeah. I was ready to trade for him in fantasy, like, no questions asked. I love this. I love watching him play hockey. I love his personality. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great regular season player. He'll be a 100-point player. Wherever he goes, he'll have fun there. He'll excel there, whatever it is. I'm not even trying to be like I hate Marner. I don't hate Marner. But I can't give you a single example of when he showed up in the playoffs. I can't. And he's making $10.9 million. Marner is the one guy in this core four that I cannot think of a single example in the playoffs of when he showed up when it mattered. He didn't. He hasn't shown up when it mattered.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hate on the guy. Like, I'm someone who's
Mhm.
loved Mitch Marner for 8 years. I love his skill. I think he's incredibly skillful. I think his
You
chemistry
traded
with
for him in
Matthews,
fantasy right before the playoffs started.
literally, yeah. I was ready to trade for him in fantasy, like no questions asked. I love this. I love watching him play hockey. I love his personality. You know, I think he's a great guy. I think he's a great regular season player. He'll be a 100-point player. Wherever he goes, he'll have fun there. He'll excel there, whatever it is. I'm not even trying to be like I hate Marner. I don't hate Marner. But I can't give you a single example of when he showed up in the playoffs. I can't. And he's making $10.9 million. Whether it's regular season or playoffs, when you watch a player like McKinnon, McDavid, when you see these guys play, you don't need to see stats. You don't need to see analytics. All right. You just need your eyes, and you can tell that these guys are on one level and Matthews is not at that level. Okay? Like the way they're able to
No one is arguing
like,
that, bro.
huh?
No one's arguing that. But
Exactly.
players that
Right?
I'm talking about are the Draisaitl's,
Yeah.
Pasternaks, and Kucherovs that are outperforming him.
Yeah. The Kucherov, Draisaitl, these guys, they outperform him in the playoffs as well. Agreed. Now, the thing with Matthews is though, the only option, not the only option, but the only thing that you have with him is you wait. Because you wait to see if he picks it up. And there's a couple of things I noticed with Matthews that I think he needs to adjust in the playoffs. He's not like, I can tell you one thing Nylander does that Matthews doesn't do in the playoffs. Nylander goes end to end. He goes north to south. He will take the puck and he will literally drive play with it. And Matthews never drives play in the playoffs. Matthews always passes off and looks for a shot. He looks to get in a position where someone's going to find him and he's going to get off a one-timer or he's going to get off a wrist shot from somewhere. That's his style of play. In the regular season, it works amazingly because he's sneaky. He's sneaky at finding little open spots where he can get an open shot or doing little things where he can put the puck on net. In the playoffs, that closes. The gaps close. Teams have 7 games with you. They nail you down. They know exactly what you're going to do. They watch you play because you're the star player on the team. All right. They nail you down. He needs to figure out a way to drive play. All right. Nylander on that goal he scored in game 6 when he took that shot at the end of the second period and it went off of McAvoy's leg and went in. What did he do? He took advantage of his matchup. He kept the puck on his stick. He did a couple of turnbacks when he skated and put the puck on net and it went in. Like Matthews, when he gets the puck, he needs to understand that he has the skill to hold that and he can drive play with it. He doesn't need to pass it off and then try to get a pass back for a one-timer or for a shot. He's got to figure out a way for him to drive play in the playoffs. And yet, that's the one thing he hasn't done yet. He's gotten goals in the playoffs. He's gotten tips. He's gotten shots off. Like he's gotten a pass to get an open shot and score. Yeah, he's gotten a breakaway and scored. Great. All right. When the breakaways aren't there, when that open shot in the slot isn't there, you gotta drive play. You're Auston Matthews, and he hasn't done that yet in the playoffs, and he needs to do that.
That's entirely fair. I didn't think you were going to be as sensible on that as I thought you were. So kudos.
Oh,
Yeah, he thinks
That's literally that was my exact assessment on him in terms of how he's playing differently and stuff like that. He hasn't adjusted to the playoffs as well as guys like Draisaitl, Kucherov.
yeah. So the only option I have is, look, this is a 69 goal scorer, potentially a 70 goal scorer at some point in his career.
To be fair, I think it's cooler to score exactly 69 than 70.
Oh, I agree. If he got 68, I would have been vexed as a Leafs fan.
Okay. I gotta wait. I gotta wait to see if he's gonna pick something up. He's gonna adjust something and he's gonna come up. He's 26 years old. He's gonna enter his prime. My thing with him is have faith. This is a player that's gonna figure it out. All right. I'm not at that point with other guys. I hope exactly, but that's the hope, and I can have the hope in Matthews because you know what? It's Auston Matthews. He's been disappointed. I've just been disappointed with his play in the playoffs a bunch, but it's Auston Matthews. I have to have hope.
All right.
We need to move on
Okay.
here.
Who is the MVP in your opinion from this series?
Me,
Omar, we can start with you since you're on a heater.
it has to be Jeremy Swayman for me. Jeremy Swayman, well, right now he has a 955. He's played one game
I'll
this
give you the stats on Swayman.
Yeah.
He let in 9 goals the whole series in 6 games.
So it's not like he played all
950 save percentage.
Yeah, he played 6 games and the most he let in was 2 goals.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think there's a question that the most consistent player on either end was Jeremy Swayman.
I will say a couple points just quickly. Nylander, no player has changed my view of him in the last year or so, year and a half, than Nylander. The way he shows up regular season playoffs, he's a lot less of a perimeter guy than he has been in the past, and that shows in his point totals.
He's hot.
And he's hot, yeah. And he rides the subway, which is just crazy to me in Toronto. Like half of us wouldn't even do that in Toronto. Half of us, there's 3 of us.
1.5 of us.
There's this very just player that came out of nowhere for Boston in the latter half of that series. Justin Brazeau. I don't know if you guys noticed.
Oh yeah.
Guy's 6
He
foot
scored
5.
yesterday.
Yeah, 6'5", 220. In game 7, he was their best player other than Swayman.
Yeah.
Like he is ridiculously good, man. And this guy, say what you will, he was on the Toronto Marlies at one point.
Yep.
At the start of his career.
I swear everyone has been on the Toronto Marlies at some point.
Yeah. They just
Jeremy Swayman was a Leafs draft snub, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they signed him midway through the year. And he comes up and is a huge contributor for them, literally, because he's 6'5" and he skates well. Like it was ridiculous how well he played in that series. But yeah, Swayman is the easy MVP in this one. 9 goals in 6 games is ridiculous.
I would like to honorable mentions. William Nylander did play very well.
Yeah.
My most surprising player was Matthew Nyes. I haven't watched him play a lot. He was very good in my opinion. I also thought Woll, when he played, really good, really impressed. Kept Toronto in games.
Is Woll the starter next year?
Oh, has to be. The only thing with Woll is injuries. If he can stay healthy, he has to be the starter. But they need to get a 1B guy because I don't know if Woll is a goalie that's going to stay healthy, to be honest.
That's fair. That isn't Samsonov.
Samsonov has played his last game in Toronto. I don't want to see his face in that city again.
Okay.
He's
a nice guy, though.
Nice guy. I couldn't care less.
All right, Evan, who's your MVP?
I'll just stick with Swayman. But also, I thought Marchand was also pretty solid in the series. So
yeah, well, Marchand was picking up the slack when Pasta was a bit slow.
Exactly.
They flipped in the series.
And then
Pasta picked it up later, and then
Pasta showed up in game 7. Essentially,
that's a player that shows up, man.
Yeah, so he showed up in game 7, which is all you needed from him, really. But Marchand had 2 game winners in the series, actually, right? He won
the first part of that series. He was insane.
Yeah.
All right. Can we go to a quick one now? Can we just go to Washington and Rangers?
Yep, my MVP is Ovechkin because he had 0 points. Let's move on.
How many cups do you have? Idiot. All right.
I'm wearing one right now just in case I get attacked in the crotch.
All right. Rangers Caps, 4-1 Rangers game 1, 4-3 Rangers game 2, 3-1 Rangers game 3, 4-2.
I don't think you have to say who won each game.
I'm going to. Evan, shut up. Evan, when are you going to get a Hall of Famer that's actually legitimate on your team, bro?
Erik Karlsson is a legit Hall of Famer. Thank you.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, he is.
Yeah, but he didn't play his entire career on your team.
That's not your point.
Here's my point. Anyways, this was basically like a bye for the Rangers in the end. I did say that this series would either go 4 games or 7, and it definitely didn't go 7, and it wasn't even close to going 7, and therefore
it wasn't even close to going 5.
Well, if it wasn't 4, it was going to be 7. That was my point, and no one can disprove that theory. So, fuck off. But, anyways, my MVP of this series was Matt Rempe.
Yeah, obviously no one, whether it's us or anyone who watches hockey, was surprised when the Rangers beat the Caps. I gave the Caps 6 games thinking they might pull off a couple of wins, but they didn't do that.
We were
Uh,
ready to, bro. You know where
huh?
Ovechkin is right now?
Where?
He's in Dubai. You remember what happened last time he went to Dubai? He went on a scoring streak. So next year, 50's coming. We'll be Gretzky.
If he scores 50
Yeah.
next year, I will
I mean, I'd be
become.
careful what you say here. It's still Alex Ovechkin.
Yeah, he had 22 goals in the last 32 games.
I have had like 4 thoughts already go through my mind that I have not said because I was like, that's a bad idea.
Yeah, but it's still like I don't think it'll happen, but it's still possible.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
He
not
needs
surprised to
43
see.
to pass Gretzky. So
I think no one is happier right now than Peter Laviolette, and my MVP for this series is Mika Zibanejad.
Mine's Shesterkin.
Yeah, I thought about him too.
I didn't, man. Shesterkin could have
He
taken
didn't
a
have
nap
much to
back
deal
there.
with, to be honest.
He could have taken a nap back there, man. We were
Yeah.
Hey,
terrible.
but he could have let in bad goals when we talked about how bad he played. But he
He
didn't.
actually did let in a bad goal.
A bad goal.
Could have been the difference in the series, man. Come on.
All right, shall we go to the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers?
Damn, I guess I really am choosing Matt Rempe.
Okay, let's do it. I have an MVP literally because of one thing.
Can I say that the series? First game, 3-2 Florida. Second game, 3-2 Florida in OT. Third game, 5-3 Florida. Fourth game, 6-3 Tampa. And last game, game 5, 6-1 Florida.
Okay, I'm picking Bobrovsky because he made the best save I've ever seen in my entire life.
yeah.
Thank you. You cannot change my mind. And they won the game. It was 2-2 when he made that save. They won 3-2. That's crazy.
I actually thought about Bobrovsky as well because because of that save specifically as well. I was like, oh, but he made that crazy save. I actually went in this series, Steven Stamkos with an honorable mention to Matthew Tkachuk.
I was about to be like, what? All right, fair enough, man.
Yeah,
I went
Steven. I mean, what, he had like 5 goals in the series, I think.
He had a great series, man.
Yeah,
great series. I do agree with you.
My honorable mention, fighting for a contract or something.
Yeah, he'll. My concern for Toronto is that they're going to replace Marner with Stamkos, and I would feel horrible. And then
he has one though. He has one.
Yeah, he has one. But if it just feels like signing Tavares when he was like already 32, but like Stamkos is a bit older than that.
Imagine
actually,
Stamkos and Matthews both score 50 goals. Oh.
It'll have to be all in the power play for Stamkos, which is possible, I guess. But honorable mention in this series, Carter Verhaeghe. He's the most underrated player in the league for me. But the second most underrated player for me is the MVP, and is Gustav Forsling. Put an absolute clamps on Nikita Kucherov, man. There's a whole 3-minute highlight reel video of just Forsling just closing down Kucherov and not letting him get any kind of space at all the entire series. Best defensive defenseman in the NHL, Gustav Forsling.
I feel like he's not a defensive defenseman. He's just very good at defense.
He is a defensive defenseman.
All right, let's move.
I would argue, because we've talked about how he does have some point totals that are pretty solid. So I'd say he's a two-way, but what he's best at is defense.
For me, he is the best defenseman defensively in the league, other than Miro Heiskanen.
You worded that better. So sure.
The best defenseman at defense. So I guess you're classifying defensive defensemen as people that are only good defensively.
They are defensive specialists. That's what they do. They don't contribute necessarily other ways.
So like Forsling, two-way defenseman.
Labushkin.
But so Sophie's saying he considers Forsling
him to be the best defenseman at defense, not the best defensive defenseman.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
He's saying that like your only skill is defensive.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you there, bro. Still the best defenseman at defense in the league, other than Heiskanen. I want to clarify that.
All right. Edmonton, Los Angeles.
We still have an Eastern Conference one, bro.
Who did I forget? Oh, sorry. The forgetful
Game 1
teams.
of Carolina Islanders. 3-1 Carolina. 5-3 Carolina. 3-2 Carolina, 3-2 Islanders in OT, and 6-3 Carolina. I don't remember the series at all. I'm not gonna lie.
So what I'll say is, yeah, I expected Carolina to win the series. I will say though, I was surprised it only took 5. I thought Islanders would put up more of a fight. Like I think I had Carolina
surprised.
I think I had Carolina in 7. If that was my prediction, if I'm correct. But yeah, I think I had Carolina in 7. I thought it's Islanders. They'll take it to a 6-7 game series. They didn't.
I had Carolina at 5, but you know what's funny? My predictions would have been entirely right if I wasn't such a Caps homer. I went 7 for 7 on the rest of them.
You could be a Caps Marge.
No, you said Toronto in Boston in 6, so you were off on that.
No, I mean like 7 for 7 in terms of one.
Oh, who won? Okay.
Yeah. Because my bracket that I submitted into this is gonna seem like I'm betraying my team, but like my bracket that I submitted into my fantasy hockey league for the other one, because it determines the draft order for next year for fantasy hockey. I put my actual bracket in that one, and for that one I went 8 for 8 because I didn't choose Washington. It felt wrong. Felt really wrong, but I'm winning, so it's fine.
Okay, who's your MVP?
Seth Jarvis.
Mine is also Seth Jarvis.
Mine is Jean-Gabriel Pageau. I'm just kidding.
I know. I was gonna wait until you gave someone else.
I was waiting for you to fix your eyes.
I'll jump on the Seth Jarvis bandwagon.
Sure.
He had a ridiculous shot in one of the games. I can't remember which one it was, but I saw it
like
everywhere.
Ovechkin, but he missed the net.
This guy's relentless, man. Just trying to have a good time.
I started thinking about how mean I am to you sometimes the other day, and I was like, but he knows I love him, so it's okay.
But it's not. It's just you're disrespecting one of the best players of all time. It's annoying.
Well,
Makes me a little bit emotional. He has a cup. He has a supermodel wife. He's about to break a record. Piss off. Anyways,
what if he doesn't? What if he gets like 15 goals next year?
he's going to Dubai, bro. He's not scoring less than 40. He's getting the camel juice. I think he might spend the entire. He said himself he's changing his off-season regimen, and I think that literally just means he's going to spend the entire summer in Dubai.
Could be.
That's what he did in the All-Star break, and it worked. So, all right, let's go to the Western Conference.
Edmonton, Los Angeles.
This one, where are you at? Game 1, 7-4 Edmonton. Game 2, 5-4 LA Kings in overtime. Game 3, 6-1 Edmonton. Game 2, 1-0 Edmonton. And game 5, 4-3 Edmonton.
High scoring series.
For one team.
First. I will go first. Even though Sufi says you should hold him to a different expectation, having 2 points per game or more, I still think that is like if
it is actually more than 2 points per game.
If Nick Bukestad did that on a different team, we'd be like, this guy's the MVP. We weren't expecting that. So I'm sticking.
I'm not even going to lie. I said that, and I didn't realize that he had 12 points in 5 games. I thought it was like 9.
No, it was 12. So, that's what I was saying. I was like, what do you mean?
I will eat my words. I'm not going to disrespect the GOAT.
So,
don't call him the GOAT.
That he's still not my MVP.
He is not the GOAT.
Okay, well, time will tell that.
For me, it's like I say it as like the most skilled player of all time. He's a scope.
Yeah,
the most skilled player of all time. Although I mean, considering he's almost at 1,000 points in like 600 games, I think we're getting there soon. So
why wouldn't you?
If he doesn't win ever,
wait, Evan, why wouldn't you consider him in the GOAT category? He has to be in there.
GOAT can never win a championship.
Oh well, that's what I mean. Like he's in the conversation.
Not for me.
If he wins a cup, he's instantly
I think at the end, let's say the next 5 years, he at least wins a Stanley Cup, then absolutely he can be in that. But if you win like none, that's kind of hard.
Well, he might
like
win.
If LeBron had all the same stats, but had never won a championship, that would be like a huge knock on his like GOAT debate.
Basketball is a tough comparison because one player has
I know,
one
but
player's
I'm saying,
way more
like,
impact
that's
on the
a
game.
popular GOAT conversation.
Yeah. I guess. The thing is, if McDavid finishes 3 rounds with a 2.4 points per game in the playoffs, he's one of the guys I put in the he played amazing but got let down by his team category, and we can do that every single year with him.
Sure, but let's say he does that and he never wins. Are you Sufi? Because you have said Sidney Crosby's the best player of all time. Would you not still pick Sidney Crosby over Connor McDavid? You wouldn't?
No, Crosby's never been let down by his team.
No. But as the GOAT. Because Crosby's a better defensive player, as well as has won 3 cups.
But winning cups doesn't necessarily dictate how well you play in the playoffs. Do you get what I'm saying?
Sure, but obviously Pat Maroon can win 3 in a row. It doesn't have to do with your play. But
no, that's what I'm saying though. Because
I think if you're the greatest player of all time, you almost have to have a championship.
I don't disagree. I think that he does have to. Well, he's one of the guys that I'm just like, okay, it's going to happen at some point.
Let's say Auston Matthews beats Ovechkin's goal record, but he never wins. And let's say he has 20 more goals than Ovechkin at the end, but Ovechkin won a cup. Would you not still think a lot of people would say, well, Ovechkin won, he's still the best goal scorer because he did it when it mattered?
I mean, I'd be one of those people, but
thank you. Have a great night, guys.
It's a different conversation when you're talking about best goal scorer of all time and the greatest player of all time.
Hey, the greatest players find a way to win.
It's true. No, I agree with
the greatest players can't circumvent a bad team.
You cannot. Maybe he should go somewhere else.
You cannot. You cannot be a GOAT if you don't have a championship. It's not possible.
We'll see in a little bit. Regardless,
he can be the GOAT. He can be the best at hockey, but he's not the greatest.
If that's the conversation, he already is the best. This guy's far and away the most skilled player.
I think Scout is the right way to go.
Yeah, but just in terms of era versus how better you are than everyone else, I think he's already there. But I'll give that to you. Greatest player of all time. He needs a cup. I do think it's possible, more possible this year than any other year. Anyways,
they're washed.
Okay, who's your MVP for you was McDavid. Evan, who's your MVP?
Draisaitl.
Draisaitl. Okay.
5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points in 5 games.
Okay, I put Zach Hyman with
7 goals. 5 games.
I put him just because I thought you two would pick McDavid easy, so I was like, let me be different. But you didn't pick McDavid, so I'm surprised. Okay.
I think McDavid might score 100 points in the Vancouver series, so I was like, we'll just save it for that.
Yeah, I wanted to also do a shout out though in this series, even though I'm picking Hyman as my MVP. Shout out to Drew Doughty.
Shout out to LaFerriere.
Drew Doughty got cooked entire series, man.
Drew Doughty had a good series. He played 30 minutes a game.
30 minutes a game does not mean you had a good series.
And he had 5 points, I think. Or a couple of
goals. He's their best defenseman. And he was
let's just say he had a better series than Rasmus Sandin.
Bro, fair enough. If that's the standard you want to hold him to.
No, shout out to him. I'm not. I think Doughty had a good series. I mean, considering
he got cooked in every single game, man. I don't know. Getting points as a defenseman, if you don't do it on both ends, is a little weird, especially when you play 30 minutes a night. Imagine if you play 30 minutes a night and you get cooked in those 30 minutes defensively. Isn't that a bad thing?
Why? When you're playing against McDavid, Draisaitl, all these guys, why is that a bad thing if you get cooked here and there?
He got cooked in every single game.
Yeah, well, that's probably a matter of opinion. I'd have to watch those places if I agree with you.
I don't know, man. Irregardlessly, they lost the series. It's fine. Next series we can go to is the team that they're playing next, Vancouver, Nashville. Big dark horse candidate was Nashville, and I think everyone's eating their words considering Vancouver kept losing goalies and they still lost. Game 1, 4-2 Vancouver. Game 2, 4-1 Nashville. Game 3, 2-1 Vancouver. Game 4, 4-3 Vancouver in overtime. Game 5, 2-1 Nashville. And Game 6, 1-0 Vancouver. I'll start this off by saying...
Sure, go ahead.
What a ridiculous series that was, man. That was Saros didn't play great, but then in the final game, it was just like a huge goalie showdown. It was ridiculous. The thing is, we can expect that at times from Saros, but we would not have expected it from who the hell? What's his name?
Artur Silovs?
Silovs.
Yeah.
He's like 23, 24-year-old third string goalie, gets thrown into the fire and performs. It was very Yaroslav Halak like, man. I loved it. It's good to watch. But I mean, like the thing is, everyone kind of ate their words on Vancouver because Nashville couldn't even beat Vancouver when they had like third string goalie in there. So it does speak to how well Vancouver has changed over the past year with a new coach and everything.
They are very well coached.
Yeah. Because it's pretty much the same players that they have over the last like 4 years. The main difference being Hronek, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I mean is a good addition, but like regardless, the core is pretty much the same, and it really just changed with coaches, like
And
how
the players
the
perform.
changed.
Like Brock
that's what I'm
Besser had a
saying.
good series.
Yeah.
JT Miller had a good series. Pedersen, I'm not sure how many points he got. But anyway,
I think he had a Mitch Marner special.
Let's see. Pedersen had 3 in 6 games.
Yeah, so Pedersen
No
was
Vancouver player really had that many points.
I am picking Brock Besser because he had games where he was the reason that they won. Tied it up late, scoring overtime.
Yeah.
Getting an assist late. Big player.
Brock Besser was great. I actually loved him in the playoffs. Yeah. I would actually agree with that. I did want to say though, Brock Besser was amazing. I'm just giving it to Artur Silovs just because why not? I want to. He had to come in and like win a series for his team. Like it's crazy.
And bro started the series in the AHL, man. Like that's a huge turnaround.
So next up we have the Vegas Golden Knights and the Dallas Stars.
Of course, you go to that one when I put it on Vegas stats or Colorado stats.
Okay, let's do the other one then.
It's okay, man. I already changed it. All right. The series won 7 games. 4-3 Vegas to start off. 3-1 game 2. 3-2 Dallas in OT for game 3. 4-2 Dallas in game 4. 3-2 Dallas in game 5. 2-0 Vegas in game 6. And 2-1 Dallas in game 7. This series was insane.
Evan and I were on the ball in this one. Dallas in 7.
Yeah.
Although you know
I
what?
fully disclosed that I was a hater. So
I was hoping Vegas would win.
fuck off.
I was hoping.
Fuck Vegas.
I like Vegas. I don't know, man. I like them.
You're literally the only person, other than maybe Evan, I don't know, that likes Vegas. Other than their
I just think whether you hate them or you don't.
There are 4 fans. Are you dumb?
No, I just think
you were born in 2017, man. Fuck off.
Whether you hate them or you don't hate them, no one can argue that the NHL got much more exciting when they came into the league.
Fuck no. They got more excited. They got more excited because
arguing off of opinion. Don't bother.
The NHL babied them, and then they became NHL's LTIR baby.
They are literally the reason that everything is fun now. Trade deadline.
They're the reason why people hate everything, bro.
You can see it's fun because of them. Like they go out and they make the big trades.
All the discourse with them is negative, though. They trade for players, and like the whole LTIR discussion is
you see is negative.
Bro, did you not see the thing I said? That was generally the opinion that was on Twitter.
Omar, leave it.
No, I think there's obviously negative discourse with them. Like, there's no doubt about that.
The majority is negative discourse.
I don't know if I could say majority is negative.
They won a Stanley Cup.
On Twitter, the majority is negative discourse. People might hate them because they won the cup last year, but the majority of it is the LTIR stuff. The reason I don't like them is because they suck, and the second of all is because
See, that's what I'm saying.
Listen, do you want me to finish my second of all? My second of all is they made me dislike a player that I loved. I loved Mark Stone. He's one of my favorite players to watch. World Juniors. I was big on World Juniors with him. And then they turned him into the LTIR scapegoat. And then the quote that comes out after, oh, I really think that we should have tried harder at the end of the season so we didn't have to play Dallas. Oh, I wonder why that happened, Mark Stone. Idiot. But I love you. but I hate you. So the reason that I don't like Vegas is because they made me hate Mark Stone. That's literally the only reason. They gave me my first Stanley Cup, bro, because they sucked in that finals.
I like
So
how
I
you said
can't.
that's your only reason, but you also said because they suck and their LTIR thing earlier.
But the LTIR thing and Stone are
But
connected.
what?
The LTIR and the Stone thing are connected.
I would say what you want about them. LTIR shenanigans, great. They've done it. You know what? Tampa did it too.
Tampa did it once. They did it 3 times.
You know,
you're allowed to do it.
if you're allowed to do it, you're allowed to do it, right? If it works, it works. I mean,
Vegas. Why are we talking about Vegas so much when they lost the series?
well, but the thing is though that every team does whatever they can to get away with what they can. Every team does it, right? Leafs do a lot of stuff with LTIR in the regular season.
Yeah, Ovechkin wouldn't go to an All-Star game for like 10 years.
So it had to do with LTIR.
But
right?
they're like, he probably could have gone. But they're like,
whichever,
but he gets
has a lower
suspended.
body injury.
Well, he gets suspended for that. Your argument is dumb. He gets suspended.
Whichever way teams work, get the LTIR and cap space to work, and whatever gray areas they can cross, they'll do it if they can make it work, right? And they did it. I think you can use multiple examples of teams that have done stuff.
So no, it's literally just them and Tampa and them 3 times. Because like the LTRs that you're talking about are Matt Murray and Jake Muzzin. That's not the same thing.
No, just like Leafs have done stuff in the Robida Island was a big thing.
But
Joffrey Lupul was a big thing. For years Leafs have done stuff.
Those are to get out of contracts. That's different.
Yeah, and they've done
those are. It's different to get out of contracts rather than putting them on your team to be in the playoffs. Whereas this is an LTIR discussion that we don't need to get into because we've already been on here for a long time. It doesn't matter. Vegas lost. I said they were going to lose. You all said they were going to lose. Yeah. I think the important point to make here is that this really showed off the depth of the Dallas Stars. I think that the thing with them is like they have 3 lines that if one of them pops off on any given night, you're done. Because the other 2 are going to be good defensively. And the one that's deciding to go off offensively is going to be going off. And then their 4th line contributed a lot too. Craig Smith, Sam Steele, and can't remember who also was on that line. Maybe Dadonov. Faxa. Was it? Yeah, Faxa, Smith, and Steele. That line in the back half of that series was great. It was weird to see. I was like, okay, they didn't need another line to pop off, and they did. And the decor, underrated. Heiskanen, Lindell, Tanev. 3 great defensemen defensively. And Heiskanen is Heiskanen. Ottinger also had a great series, but he's always been in the playoffs, so.
Yep. So, okay. Let me start off my MVP for Vegas, Dallas, and that's Wyatt Johnston.
It's Wyatt Johnston.
It's Giant Wanston.
There we go. That was one I knew was going to be I kind of figured that one would be a sweep. He came into the NHL as a 19-year-old and has worked his way through a very deep lineup, which is hard to do as a young player. So it's very commendable of him. Regardless, next series we can go to. Is one that we all thought this one was going to be exciting, and it was very much not.
Although I did say there's no match when it comes to McKinnon, Makar, Rantanen on Winnipeg. There's no match, and that was true.
Yes, but we'll get into that. So first game, 7-6 Winnipeg, and then went downhill from there. 5-2 Colorado, 6-2 Colorado, 5-1 Colorado, 6-3 Colorado. Bro, Hellebuck did not have a good game in this series.
No, he didn't.
Poor guy.
Right,
I don't know if he had a good period.
Yeah, but I think generally we can say this about the Jets. Yes, they have good forwards, and it's a fairly deep team. Defense was not good the entire year. Like as in like they weren't like on paper they're not that good of a defense. They have some good defensive players in Morrissey, who's an offensive defenseman. But then Hellebuck overshadowed a lot of discrepancies in their play, and Colorado just said, nah, and just railed. Like they were dominant in the series, man. And like I don't think Hellebuck gave up a lot of bad goals. I think he gave up a lot of goals. But I can't really pin this on him, man. The Jets defense played terrible, and the offense, aside from game 1, didn't really show up. So
yep.
Although he did say in an interview that it was the best hockey of his career, and I would argue against that. But hey,
who said that in an interview?
Hellebuck himself.
No way, really?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe he was playing really well, and it was just getting past him. That's how it is sometimes. The fact that it happened, like 6 goals, 5 goals,
That's what
6 goals,
Sufi said his
5 goals.
entire goaltending career.
Yeah, man. That's why I didn't make the NHL because I was too positive.
I had a great game. 9-0 loss.
Yeah, I've never let in more than 5 goals in a game. Just kidding.
I
Well,
feel like I've seen you let in more than 5.
I think the most I ever let in out of league was 6. To be fair, team sucked, so game's the game. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I
MVPs.
think this and I think these were probably Evan's worst predictions because I think he said
I
Jets
picked
and
the
6,
teams I wanted to win.
Jets and 6, and Islanders and 7. So
What
Those
did I
were
say?
my homer picks.
yeah,
Did I say Winnipeg or Colorado? I think Colorado,
you
I
said
said.
Colorado. You said Colorado and 6. I said Colorado and 7. I'm pretty sure. So yeah,
Okay, let's go to our MVPs.
I don't know, man. Gail McCarr.
I'm going to Chuskin.
That's not bad. I mean, you can pick literally anyone. So
I'm going Mason Appleton.
McCarr, Rantanen, and McKinnon all had 2 goals and 7 assists on the nose.
Yeah, good series for Colorado. But those are our first round MVPs. And
Wait, who was your MVP, bro?
I thought we're just sticking with Appleton.
Bro, Appleton's on Winnipeg, and he
Yeah.
sucks.
It's McKinnon.
It's McKinnon?
McKinnon.
Okay.
Gosh. No, it's Miroshchenko.
Nichushkin has 7 goals and no assists. Shooter. Zach Hyman type vibe.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go to series, which is it's gonna be a little bit weird because we've already had game ones in 2 series. Okay. So we can start with those ones. Let's talk Rangers and Hurricanes. I'll start this off by saying I thought that the Hurricanes were gonna win game one, so I don't know, because I thought the Rangers were coming in, they just basically had a bye in the first round. They're coming in all, we haven't really played in 2 weeks. Then I kind of forgot that the Hurricanes essentially had the same thing minus the 1 loss. So yeah, it was actually a pretty exciting game. Spanish had played great, but there's like a video going around of him like doing what you say, doing what you say Mitch Marner does, where he had like a wide open, like this was like there was no one in front of him, and he was like 3 feet away from the goalie, and he wound up for a slap shot and then tried to drop pass it. I don't know if you've seen this video. I'll send it to you after.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've seen it.
He wound up for a slap shot. There was no one around. Like I should like there was like he had a good few seconds with the puck in front of the net. Faked a slap shot and tried to drop pass it. The guy behind him was fully covered and then just went to the corner.
That's a very Mitch Marner play.
The thing is, Mitch Marner has done that, and actually, it did work out in the regular season. Remember where he like drop passed on a breakaway and scored? So maybe that's what he was going for, but didn't look as good. Most of these series are fairly evenly matched, I would say, on paper at least. But for me, this one is the most evenly matched series. I'll stick with what I have: Carolina in 7.
I'm going New York Rangers in 6.
I would prefer Carolina to win, but I do not know who is going to win. So I'm going to go Carolina in 7 because I think they have a better defense core.
I'd say they definitely have a better defense core. It's just it'll come
I'm a
down
Ranger
to.
guy. I like them.
Oh God.
I actually do like the Rangers.
And that's
what's funny?
that's all you have to know. Omar likes the Leafs and the Rangers, and that shows you that he knows nothing about hockey.
Damn. I'll be honest. I prefer like a world-ending apocalypse than either of these teams winning because I hate them both. But they're also my division
Why do you
rivals.
hate Carolina and Rangers?
They're both my division rivals.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Carolina also has.
I just think Carolina's a very boring team. I don't care about.
With that being said, I completely disagree with you there. I think Carolina has way more players that I like than the Rangers, which is why I would want them to win. But I think this is an evenly matched series.
It's a boring city.
Because that matters. Carolina's barn is way nicer than MSG.
Carolina's arena.
Maybe not the arena itself, but the atmosphere is ridiculous in there.
Oh, the atmosphere. Okay. Yeah, could be. Yeah, I'm sure the Rangers might also have like a very corporate crowd.
That's what's said, but actually in the playoffs, it's not too bad.
Yeah,
To be fair, I generally don't care who wins the series because I don't like either of them. But I would love to see Freddie Anderson beat the allegations of playoff blunder, and he's played amazing so far.
I
So
hold those allegations.
yeah, to be fair, you have said that he's played good in the playoffs, except for a few goals,
Yeah, yeah,
which he hasn't really given up yet. So
yeah.
maybe he's changed, but we'll see.
All right. So let's do the
Austin,
Boston
Florida.
and Florida series.
You want to go, Omer? Because one of your favorite teams is on this.
I predicted a game one win by them, and I got that right because Florida's been chilling for a while. Boston's been playing,
Yeah,
so I thought they're gonna come in a bit hotter, and they did.
yeah.
Um,
Should have
I'm
used
gonna
that
go a
logic.
bit like here's what I don't know if you remember, but before the season started, I said I have a feeling Boston's gonna make the finals, and I'm sticking with that vibe. So for
Yeah,
this series, I'm going Boston in seven
you are living and dying by Jeremy Swayman.
because Jeremy Swayman has yet to let in more than 2 goals in the playoffs, and he's played game one
He's
already.
the best goalie in the playoffs right now in terms of performance right now. So
Yeah, so
I do. I'm excited to see what Swayman does next year, assuming Allmark is gone,
yeah,
because I want to see what a full 60 games of him looks like. Because right now he can't be in the Vezina conversation because he plays like 40 games,
yeah,
45 games, whatever it is, right? So it's hard to get into that conversation. If he has the same stats through 60 games, who's to say he doesn't get that, right? I think he'd be my Vezina dark horse if Allmark isn't there next year.
um, Evan. I mean, wait, Sufi, what's your prediction?
I'm not saying what I said in the WhatsApp group chat. Because I said Florida in 5. I'm saying Florida in 7.
I think yes, Boston should have won the first game because of you know being in like game shape sort of thing. No rest. But I think Florida is going to win in 6.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with you there. I just think that Florida is going to take a little bit of time to get into the series. So I think we might have like a Dallas Vegas situation where they drop the first 2 games and then come back and win. Like, I mean, they could win 4 straight and you could be right, but yeah, they've been lulled a little bit too much. Although Matthew Tkachuk was good, like really good in the first game, so team around him improves. So I think he'll be fine. Bobrovsky just had a bad game in the first game.
Colorado and Dallas. What do we have here?
It's Dallas. It's always been Dallas. It's never not going to be Dallas.
Yes.
Wait,
Dallas
didn't you pick them
in
to win the cup?
7.
You picked Dallas to win the cup, right?
I did before the season started.
Yeah. I mean, I picked Edmonton. Omer
Yeah, but that's
picked.
not going to happen.
It's very possible. Omer picked.
Well,
Oh wait,
Boston.
you picked Boston to go to the final. That's not the same thing.
No, I picked Boston to go to
Boston,
the
you picked
finals
Boston.
last
No,
year for the
no.
cup.
You said Boston. That was your bold prediction, but in your
Yeah.
actual prediction of who wins the cup, you
Oh,
still said
of course. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you were double backing yourself.
No, but I mean, I would always say Toronto. Okay. So
This series is weird, man.
for Colorado Dallas, I actually have Colorado in 7.
He's not betting against the players, bro.
I'm not betting against McKinnon, Rantanen, and Makar, and apparently Nichushkin. But no,
Rantanen.
I'm going Colorado in 7.
Yeah. I mean, I think this series really just comes down to Georgiev. Wasn't really tested that much in the first series, and when he was, he let in 7 goals or whatever it was. I don't know. Or no, he got pulled in the first 3. So he had a bad first game, and that was the only time he was really tested. So I think it really just comes down to him, and for that reason, I'm going Dallas in 7.
All right, and our final series, Edmonton, Vancouver.
This is going to be the most entertaining series.
Oh, I'm so excited for this one.
This is like Calgary, Edmonton last year.
Yeah.
2 Canadian Western teams. McDavid torches the Canucks. So it'll be McDavid versus random rookie goalie because Thatcher Demko is out until at least game 5, is what they said. Which likely means
game 5.
more so the whole series, I'll say. I think unless they're in dire need of a goalie, I don't think he comes back in this series.
Yeah. So I think their rookie goalie did well against Nashville. I don't know if he's gonna have answers against McDavid, Draisaitl. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm giving Vancouver a couple of games. My prediction is Edmonton in 6, but it could end before that easily as well.
I agree.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be a bit of a shell shock for that goalie too, going from Nashville's offense to McDavid Draisaitl. The biggest key for Vancouver, because Edmonton can score a 5-on-5 no problem, but if Vancouver takes like even 2 penalties a game, they're screwed. So for that reason, I'm out.
What do you mean you're out?
Evan's the only one that got it. It's fine.
It's a Dragon's Den reference.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
I was a little pessimistic about the Oilers in the first round by picking 6 instead of 5. So this time I'm going to go 5 instead of 6. Edmonton and 5.
And those are our round 2 series predictions. Alrighty.
For joining our podcast.
Oilers.
We appreciate you listening. And yeah, that was our playoff prediction. Let us know what your predictions are and if you differ from us. And you can listen to us on
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, SiriusXM. Watch us on YouTube. Follow us on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram at The Unfortunate Diehards. And we'll see you next
Go on our
time.
Twitter.